It's 2026 and many of us have New Year's resolutions and we also have goals. And today I want to talk to you about why you should not necessarily just plan goals that you have, but why you want to actually make them connected to God and His plans, because His plans are so much bigger than ours and His strategies are so much better than ours. And so let's talk about that today. So, welcome to the You, Me, and Jesus podcast. So, we are talking about how to set God led goals versus just our own goals for 2026. And I want to tell you how I set them for myself. So, I understand that we all have goals. Like, we all have things we want to accomplish. I want to lose an additional 35 pounds in 2026. That's what I want to do. I want to grow out my hair. I want to learn more things with makeup. I want to learn how to decorate my house more and all this type of stuff, right? But I also recognize that God has plans for 2026. He has plans for me, my life, my health, my hair, my everything, my money. He has plans for all of that. And if I give myself the gift of partnering with Him, more than likely, I will exceed what my expectations are because He's so much bigger than us, right? He can do so much bigger. Now, I'm not saying that God has a plan for me to lose 100 pounds in 2026. I'm saying that we get this amazing opportunity to right now go, okay, let me sit myself down. Let me sit my goals down and let me talk to God. Let me ask God what He wants to do, what plans He has for 2026, right? So I'll give you an example. I have a company and I teach people visibility, social media marketing, and monetization. And we do this thing where I have this course that's called the Viral Visibility Method, and people work with me for 12 weeks. And we do this like 3-day challenge to help people. We coach them and then so on and so on. So when I am planning these different things that I'm doing for my business, I go to Him and I say, all right, so for 2026, what am I going to offer? Right. And like a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, whatever, I just kind of sat down with him and was like, what is the vision for what we're building? And he was like, well, we got to streamline things, simplify things, all that. Okay, great. So then we started working on the plan for all the things or whatever. Right. And from there, I just said, okay, all right. So if we're going to do this course, it's just $3,000, how many people are we going to sell the first time that we sell it? Right. And I said, okay, so let me ask Him what is His number. Right. And if He gives me a number, then I tell my team that is the goal. Right. And so we got to go after it until we hit that goal. If we go beyond that, great. But God said that's the goal. Right. And then our goal is to have hundreds of people join this 3-day challenge, because then when they join the challenge, they also convert into the course. So I was like, God, how many people are going to join this challenge? And He said, these many hundreds. Okay, so that's the number, right? And so because of that, I go, okay, so if that's the number, then that times the amount it costs is this amount of money. When they buy the course, these many people times this amount of money, we're going to make this amount of money, right? And so I go through all the different products and services and say, okay, how many of all these are we going to sell? He gives me the number and then I add it all up and I go, okay, that is our financial goal for 2026, right? And so instead of me just having this, I want to make this amount of money, I'm like, what are you saying? Because this is what me and my team should be going towards every single day. And if we're off track, we need to see that we're off track, and everybody needs to know this is what we need to be hitting every single day, week, and month in order to hit that goal. Does that make sense? And that helps me to have a focus, right? And then not to mention when it comes to like, let's just say my physical health, right? I'm like, as much as I want to lose another 35 pounds, I do, right? I also get to say, okay, God, by the end of 2026, how much more weight will I have lost? If He tells me 10 pounds, then I have to stop trying to go towards 35 because I'm going to be disappointed by my progress. But if He says you're going to lose 50 and not 35, then I'm like, okay, well, we're going to go after losing 50 pounds and not just after losing 35. And it really just helps me to be on track with Him and His plan and His goals. Does that make sense? And so it's kind of like, for this year, I decided that I wanted to go on more vacations because I need more time away from my business and more time from being strategic. And I was just like, is it okay for me to go on this vacation? Yes. Is it okay for me to go here? Yes. It's okay for me to go here? Yes. And then here? Yes. Perfect. So once I know that this is what he said I can do, then now I can plan out my life and my business because I'm going to be gone here, 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 and here, right? And preparing me for all of that. And also financially preparing me to be able to pay for all those different things, right? That's like I'm going on a cruise in March, a cruise in May, and then I'm going to London in October with my mastermind, and then to Mexico in November with my mastermind. Those are 4 vacations that I get to go on, right? I got to pay for them, but it's like, okay, that is the time that I'm going to be away. And it's like, okay, God, what do I need to do to make that time away still fruitful for me to where I'm still making money in my business, but I'm also taking rest. You know what I'm saying? And it's so beneficial to be able to do that. But you have to first spend time with God, right? It's like, I don't hear him more than you do. It's just that a lot of times I feel like people say, well, you just have such a clear ear to God. And it's like, no, I don't. I just intentionally talk to him. I talk to him as if he's sitting right here because he is, right? Like I have a new therapist and I often tell her about the conversations I have with God. And I know she's probably like, what? But when I give her the answers that I get from him, she always goes, that is really good. No, I agree with that. I agree with them. Like, yeah. And I'm just telling her all this stuff that I'm hearing from God. And she is just like in awe. But it's only because I spend time with him and I act like he is right here. Because I'm like, if he is alive, then that means he is literally right here. I may not be able to see him, but he is literally right here. Right. And so recently I had this dream about this famous person. This person came to me and I was hugging on them and I was like comforting them. And something crazy happened with them on social media. And I was like, wow, like after the dream. And to me, it was a reminder of God saying, hey, remember, this is how I created you. This is what I created you for. And I want you to intercede on that person's behalf. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Right. But I wasn't thinking about that person. I wasn't thinking about God. I was just doing me. But because I am willing to hear God, I'm willing to do what he's asked me to do. He talks to me. So I've told myself, okay, I want to get back to the person who was very strategic and intentional about everything I do in my relationship with God. Because the last couple of years, I've just been off track. It's been a lot going on, a lot of good, not so good, a lot of transitions, menopause, just so much happening with my brain. And my brain is just like, not operating on all cylinders the way it was prior to going through menopause. Hold on, the conversation for another day. And I've just been really trying to get back on track, just brain wise, to then get back on track with how I hear God. And God is just like, you're getting on track, but I'm still speaking. Like, you can still hear me just fine. You may not be talking to me as much as you want to, but I'm still speaking and everything just fine. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're doing great, right? And so I said, one of my goals is to get back to the place where I'm always talking to God about everything, even if it's just 15 minutes in a day and I'm just like praying in tongues and going about my business, but I'm like intentionally still doing this thing, you know what I mean? To get back to where I was 2 years ago. I'm like, we're going to start where we are today, not where we were 2 years ago. Today is today. 2 years ago was that. Here we are today, you know? And that's going to get me to that place. I know he's on track with that because who does not want me to be close to him, right? But it's so important that we don't just set our own goals, but that we literally sit before God and we give ourselves the gift of talking to him, the gift of letting him talk to us, and give yourself the gift of trying to hear and obeying what you think you're hearing, right? So like, I would encourage you, ask him something small, like something small, right? And get the answer. You might have heard it wrong. That's okay. But you got to go through a game in order to be able to know how you hear him when you hear him, right? So I may say something like, okay, God, how many of these mini programs are we going to sell? Right? And I may hear him say 3. Right? Great. I'll go after 3. If I get 0, then I know I heard him wrong. I don't think it's the end of the world, right? But it's something small. I'm not going to say, do I go move to Italy, pack everything up and move, and then go, oh, I heard him wrong. Oh, I'm talking about something small so that I can be on a journey with him, hearing him accurately. Does that make sense? And so for 2026, for you to hit things beyond your expectation, beyond your capacity, your focus has got to be on him. Your focus has got to be, God, what is it you want me to know? What do you want to say? What do you want to do with me in this year? What do you want to bless me with? How do you want me to bless other people? How do you want me to grow in this year? And invite him into all aspects of your life, your finances, your health, your mental health, your relationships. Invite him into all of that. because he has an intention, and if you get on board with his intention, then you feel like you have a guide, because you do have a guide. You have the best guide.